In an event where the heroes fell, the villains stand triumphant, and where a man's career is murdered before our very eyes, as we see upon the debris amongst us, we say to ourselves, is what we saw real, or was it all just a WrestleDream? I am your host, MattyBoo, standing in for the rather tall giraffe of me, Jeremy Graves. Alongside me, sitting right over there, is the irreplaceable pure of heart, Harriett Manga Girl Green. And welcome, everybody, to not a clusterfuck because it's just us two. Welcome, everybody, to BunkaMania's review of All Elite Wrestling's WrestleDream 2024. Harriet, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm not nervous at all.
This is the first time I've hosted a podcast since 2013. So I'm not bricking it either. We'll be fine. It'll be great.
Yeah. As people know, it's kind of like I'm not really one to talk as much, but I am going to try my very best because I have been studying very hard for this. It's not a test, but still.
She sure has. Now, order of service. We are not going to go through every nook and cranny of this pay-per-view because god darn, there was 13 matches if you throw in 0 hour. So
Yes.
we're going to take it in our stride and just pick what we liked and what we didn't like about the show in general. What were overall our favorite matches, what we think could have done a little better. But we're going to start the proceedings by talking about the end of the pay-per-view, that being the ending of Bryan Danielson's full-time wrestling career at the hands of the Blackpool Combat Club. Not Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley merely took away his title. The entirety of the Blackpool Combat Club took away Danielson's career.
Mm-hmm.
Harriet, have you got any feelings about this?
I had a tagline in regards to this whole pay-per-view where some dreams came true, some nightmares became reality, and it was just like it did seem like this, especially in the main event. It was just like you would hope. It's one of those things. Ever since Danielson announced, as soon as I lose my title, that's it, my career is over. Every match, you're kind of like, please just get through this. Please just get through this. And even then, it's kind of like this. It's just like he's gonna win. I'm sure he's gonna win. Oh no, he's not gonna win. Oh no, And I literally proceeded to spend the last, was it 10-15 minutes of the whole thing that happened afterwards, just like sat here just like going, oh god, this is not real. And the whole atmosphere, I just kind of felt really sad after it because it was just like you're seeing an end of this in-ring career, not just in career in general, because he said he's going to be doing stuff, but the whole thing of like how it happened and how it came about, and it kind of, even the way it ended, it was just like, oh well, this rarely happens in wrestling where it kind of ends on like a sour note, even though it is in story build telling, but it was still like, oh. And I can't imagine what it was like to be in that arena, put it that way, because I can imagine like the air was gone because it was eerily silent. That was the one thing I took away from this. It was just the fact of nothing was said. Obviously they cheered him and then suddenly it was just silence, whatnot. We had all the other babyface wrestlers seeing if he was okay. I will say they arrived very late for this.
They agrees with you.
It was just like you could have arrived like 30 seconds earlier before Fingerbob piped his head through a chair, but you know, it is one of those things. I know oh, who did the Young Bucks face earlier on in the match? Was it
Private Party?
Private Party. They arrived to try and help, and then obviously they just got completely destroyed. But yeah, my feelings in regards to this in total is that it's sad. Not every pay-per-view has to end in a good way. I think this is very shocking in regards to how it's being told, and it kind of gives you an idea of like, you have to watch Dynamite because you really want to see why the Blackpool Combat Club did this and what happens next. And I suppose that's the brilliant way of wrestling in regards to storytelling, that kind of what happens at the end compels you to continue to watch it to see what happens next.
I am in full agreement, Harriet. As we already established in our All-In review, I am a fan of Bryan Danielson, have been on and off pretty much since 2002 when I saw him wrestle under a mask in Bognor Regis. Pretty much followed his career through Ring of Honor, from Ring of Honor into the WWE, from the WWE into his first retirement, from his first retirement into being a really good play-by-play guy in the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. From there, him as a general manager on SmackDown, he did a really good job of that as well. And then finally, the resurgence of Daniel Bryan, the initial mandated heel turn in which he finally played a character in the Hemp Championship, which he did incredibly well from there on in, basically just being the absolute best in his resurgence. And that all came to a head when he finally moved to All Elite Wrestling and had some of the best matches in his entire career. Yeah, so you were saying about the atmosphere just dying in front of us before our very eyes. Like, the crowd fell silent. This, just to explain, Danielson was the hometown hero. There was quite a few of them in this pay-per-view, but none more than Danielson himself. And you knew that they were with him every step of the way. And when he lost the match, when the dawning sensations sunk into everybody, first you got the usual, the actual go, no, out of them all. And then you just got stone cold silence, which came into it even before the Blackpool Combat Club started to attack him. And this intensified the situation no end. Sometimes you don't need noise. No. Sometimes the most resounding noise of all is silence.
And silence is deafening.
It absolutely was. And now that I've had 2 days to process this, I believe you and me, Sunday you would have got a much more guttural response from me. 2 days down the line, I kind of dig this. As a wrestling fan, I kind of dig this. As I was processing, as I was finding out little things like, this would have been Danielson's idea. This is how he wanted to go. You know, this is a guy who didn't want to win the championship at All In. This is the guy who had to be talked into winning the championship. This was a guy who was content to leave it all in the ring at All In.
And we were prepared for that as well, believe me.
We absolutely were. And the fact that we had this extended stay almost made us believe he was going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And yet we knew in our heart of hearts that he was literally on a timer.
Yeah. I mean, after he had an interview where he wrestled with someone recently and he said, I could not feel anything afterwards, or it was just like some nerve endings were gone, and it's just like, this isn't good.
No. So as much as this was bad, the main difference between me reviewing All Out and me reviewing this, All Out, I literally stopped watching the pay-per-view 5 minutes before we hit record, me and Jeremy, on our live podcast. And my feelings were raw that day. Here, I've processed it. I realized for the overall business what this means. For Bryan Danielson, it means he has a rest. For Bryan Danielson, it means that he gets to see his kids while he's still able-bodied. For Bryan Danielson, it means he'll be able to still have a career going forward, give or take.
Yeah.
This is exactly what he wants. Let him have that.
Yeah. Let him have his flowers, because he's done so much for wrestling, and not just like AEW, WWE, the indies. I mean, I even discovered he kind of wrestled in a hall where I live, which is amazing. And yeah, I the whole shock, like you. So I did this weird. I watched the main event first before going back and watching it in full because I didn't want to be spoiled and I didn't know when I would be able to have a breakdown of watching it as and when. Like yourself, I only finished watching the rest of the pay-per-view this evening, but because I watched this like yourself on the day or the day after, mellowing did help. And I agree in regards to this is the best way to do it because he has put forward so many people in regards to doing this. Like the Blackpool Combat Club is they're gonna have such heat now on Dynamite or the next shows they do. And everyone who tried to rescue him as well, like Wheeler Yuta, like, oh geez, like I was shocked by that, the whole thing. He's gonna have a good reaction to what he did. But yeah, I think the whole thing with now Bryan Danielson now retiring as he is now, because fortunately in the world of wrestling sometimes it is a very heavy sport in regard on their bodies. So I'm glad he has retired the way he has now. So like you said, he spends time with his family and is able to kind of might manage in AEW now or whatever he wants to do in the future, but no need to hurt himself anymore in the process because my gosh, there was a time we didn't think he would actually wrestle again, and it's a miracle that he actually did, and for so long. So if anything, we're very thankful for what he has done, and I'm glad now that we don't have to worry every time he wrestles thinking, is he going to be okay by the end of it? Because even by the end of All In, we were thinking, geez, and All Out as well. And yeah, so I'm very grateful for watching his career throughout. I am sad how it's ended, but I can understand why they've ended it this way, and just thankful for what he's done for everyone.
From a man who's left it all in the ring to a man who continues to leave it all in the ring, we, off the back of this angle, already have two potential replacements in both Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. Now, Darby Allin has been groomed for this moment for some considerable time. And I nearly called this All Out. In WrestleDream, we had a moment which, to be fair, could have been put on a Dynamite. I won't lie. We had a moment where Jerry Lynn, former ECW world champion, spoke to Orange Cassidy and said, dude, if we know that you've got this potential hidden inside of you, you showed it so many times. If you even tried, and as we know, he tried is usually the words which is like spinach to Orange Cassidy. If you even tried, you could be the man.
Yeah.
To which Hook, who doesn't have an awful lot of people to look up to, mainly because his dad is so small. He said, no, I agree. You are the man. And that is from like big, tough, serious business Hook to Orange Cassidy, the guy in denim that does this. So we've had two potentials off the back of this angle already. Who were the two that we left shown staring daggers at the Blackpool Combat Club? Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. There was also Daniel Garcia. We will get to that at some point.
Yes.
But yes, to finish it up and put this all in a neat little bow, what this means for the Blackpool Combat Club, they have teeth. They already had teeth. Now they've got an extra set of teeth. They're big white sharks. They're not Sheamus, but they're way more deadlier. But yes, but also one thing that we have seen from the Blackpool Combat Club, I will say words. Apologies, everybody. I'm a bit frazzled today. Work's been hell. But one thing we have seen consistently from the Blackpool Combat Club is they don't want to commit murder. You can see that they don't want to commit murder, but they have to.
Yeah.
And finally, Wheeler Yuta a man who has staunchly been behind Daniel Bryan. It's a shame this storyline wasn't there for Daniel Garcia. He finally chose his side, and you could see that he didn't want to do it, but he also knows where his heart lies. His heart lies within the beating soul of the Blackpool Combat Club. Those are the people that made him the wrestler he is.
Yeah.
So he sided with them, and he also attempted a murder. And then finally, they did a murder. But it wasn't involving the murder item they used the first time. But one thing I will say, and this is just from observation, is both Moxley and Claudio were very, very safe in their neck-based offense throughout this match.
Yeah.
And yet making it look devastating. So kudos to the pair of them throughout this entire thing.
I also have to give my kudos to the commentators because, oh my God, like Excalibur crying literally set me off. Even Nigel McGuinness, who was a sworn enemy of Bryan Danielson, even was just like, no, this is not right. It shouldn't be this way, sort of thing. And they helped tell the story as it's being shown in the ring, because obviously I know, like I said, silent was deafening, but because they were telling it and the whole thing of it being how emotional it was, honestly, kudos to them. They've done an amazing job telling that.
And then there was JR, who's just a grumpy little git the moment he picked up a mic. We had salty JR, and I really wish he wasn't there. He did not really add anything to the commentary at all. And it's like, when he just snapped at one of the other guys to say, well, why don't you clue me in? It's because you're not bloody listening, mate. You just do your thing, and then you just waffle on. Like, we have not got good at JR anymore. I will say that. Unfortunately,
so he's like a heel now, pretty much.
He's just a grumpy, salty man. And unfortunately, he was one of the low points of this entire thing. But to your point, the gradual change in demeanor with Nigel McGuinness, who was pretty much the heel color commentator throughout this pay-per-view. He very much sided with the bad guys pretty much throughout this entire thing. When it came to Bryan, one thing, they did the thing that I wish they did it all in. They had Nigel McGuinness there. Number two, there was a point during the match where Nigel had his headset knocked off by Moxley or one of the Blackpool Combat Club.
It was Moxley. He slapped it away, yeah.
Yeah. That has to mean something. That really has to mean something. Either Nigel will eventually, like, slowly turn to the side of the neutral angels like Excalibur, or he might join the Blackpool Combat Club. I've been saying this for some time. He'd be a great fit.
He would be. I mean, now he's wrestling again, so...
Off and on. He has said that this is not an ongoing thing he's doing. It'll be, if he's interested in the match that they approach him with, he will do it. If he feels that it's something that it's worth his time to do. But the guy has not skipped a beat any time he's been in that ring so far, in all of the 2 times he's had a match. And again, I should hope not. The guy's bloody incredible. But yeah, of course, I am biased. So, Harriet, with that being said, that was the finishing angle. We both pretty much stated our case on that one. Shall we move on to the cards? Now, before we get into the main show, I'll just do a quick surmise of the 0 hour. Unfortunately, Harriet did not see the 0 hour. I did. I will just run through what we had match-wise. We had Brian Cage defeating Atlantis Jr., who I didn't even know was a champion in this company, for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. We had Anna Jay defeating Harley Cameron. I'm going to save myself here because one of my main complaints is about the booking of women's matches and factions and storylines in general Ring of Honor, in All Elite Wrestling. I will save that for when we talk about the main card. But Anna Jay defeated Harley Cameron by pinfall. The Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, with Daddy Ass Billy Gunn, defeated the Maximum Male Models, now the MXM Collection, Mansoor and Mason Madden, with their new manager, at least for one night, Rico.
I can't get over that.
He's looking good for a man in his 60s. I will
Do you know
say
what?
that.
Honestly, yes. But what a throwback. Jeez.
One little niggle about that. Billy Gunn cuts a promo before they start the match in which he slags off Rico. And he brings up, like, the last time we were together, you tried to marry me off against my will to another man. And it's sort of, as you start sinking, it's started to feel a little bit, not in 2024, mate. Don't go saying stuff like that. To which he then turned to Anthony Bowens and said, no offense, mate. And it's like, come on, can we not? Can we not? Thank you.
I'm glad I didn't say that. But also, I don't know if I wanted to hear that.
And then, the Acclaimed win that. I've just got to say this. At the moment, the Acclaimed are so cold for me.
I mean, they got a great reception at Allin, obviously. But yeah, I think not jumping the shark, but obviously it's kind of like the whole, there are other tag teams out there and they've had their moment for now, but they might get their time again. You know, it's just like flavor of the month sort of thing with wrestling. It happens a lot, you know, like we fall in and out of love of wrestlers, and wrestling fans are just,
And speaking of that, the Maximum Male Models, or MXM collection, go watch AEW, watch their interview with RJ City. It is hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And please give these guys more to do on the card. Don't just bury them in Ring of Honor. They're incredible sports entertainers. And then finally, were you going to say something? Cool.
No, I'm just looking in the chat, and Ian, who is watching over everything tonight, thank you so much, Ian. It's reminded me of the theme tune that they had years ago of Billy and Rico. You're So Good to Me one.
I'm going to sing it now. You're so good to me. Anyway, that I needed to tune that a little bit. But anyway, you get what I mean. I love that tag team, and then they ruined them. It was awful. Anyway. I love that tag team. And then finally, the conglomeration of Orange Cassidy and Carla Riley, along with the Outrunners, Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum, with Rocky Romero, because that's all Rocky Romero does now. He's also he's also quite a good wrestler, guys. Let him wrestle. Defeated the Dark Order and the Premier Athletes, along with Smart Mark Sterling and Evil Uno, by pinfall. Well, that was another thing to throw some more people on the card. Again, a lot of people that are usually buried on Ring of Honor against the conglomeration, who are incredibly over, and the Outrunners, who are also incredibly over. Don't watch the Outrunners on AEW. They weren't as funny, but they are, for some reason, incredibly over, and their valet wasn't with them, and I think she's pretty much awesome. She's rubbish. She's incredibly rubbish, but she's playing it so rubbish. It's perfect. And she wasn't there for some reason.
I was going to say, a shout out to Valflone in the chat. I swear, I love you. I'm looking at your chat and I'm trying not to laugh. Believe me, because
I can't see the stats.
There's mentions of sharks and Pedro, and I've just got that song in my head now.
because cards on the table, I am ADHD and I'm main hosting this one. I don't want to get distracted by chats. So I have chats in front of me.
I've literally got YouTube on here, Twitch on my phone. So I'm literally catching up with stuff as well. So yeah. Please let us know what you think as well. We will read them out, you know.
Absolutely. It's usually my job to do the little, hey guys, remember this. So yes, thank you, Harriet. So absolutely. We are also on YouTube, we're on Twitch. If you're in either of those communities, please be part of the community, go chat away, be nice to each other, be kind. That's all we ask. And every now and then somebody will throw up a text because they think that was awesome and we will respond to it. Yes. But yes, thank you everybody for tuning in so far. With that being said, we finally, Harriet, after 4 matches, one other thing I will say before we move on, because I had this in my head. We had the usual panel people of RJ City, Renee Paquette, and Jeff Jarrett, but there was also a rotating door of a fourth person. I say rotating door. There was only two people that joined them. One being Chuck Taylor, and the other one being Nyla Rose. This is my regular rant to say, please, for the love of God, please regularly book Nyla Rose in everything. She is the total package. She is incredibly funny. She's an awesome sports entertainer, and she's a damn good wrestler as well. Just bloody book Nyla. Booker.
I could say that about the women's division. There was only one match.
I was betting
one match in 13 matches.
Was it two matches if you throw in 0 hour? Oh, don't worry. That rant is coming. Do not worry.
Good, because that's coming from me as well.
Just give women a freaking chance, Tony, for the love of God. Don't say to me, oh, it's because the networks don't want it. Bullshit. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox because I'm trying to be the play-by-play guy here, not the color one. But yes, Nyla was awesome. I think if at the very least have her be in more of these panels because she was incredible when she was on the panel. Absolutely fantastic. And it was nice to see Chuck Taylor as well. We finally get on the main card. And I see before me Jay White defeating Handman Adam Page. We got Mariah May defeating Willow Nightingale. We have Jack Perry defeating Shibata. We have Takeshita defeating Will Ospreay and Ricochet. We have Hologram defeating the Beast Mortos 2-1 on a 2 out of 3 falls match. We got Darby Allin defeating Brody King, and we have the Young Bucks defeating Private Party. Finally, we have the double main event of Mark Briscoe defeating Chris Jericho, along with Big Bill, who's about as tall as Jeremy. We cannot confirm or deny whether he is smaller than Jeremy or not. And also Jon Moxley defeating Bryan Danielson, and then he had his cronies commit a murder. So we're not going to go through every single match because otherwise it will be an incredibly long thing, and we both want our beds.
We'd both be here for 4 hours for the whole thing.
Especially me, if I'm just going to spend 2 of those hours ranting about logistical booking. But yes, so with that being said, Harriet, the floor is yours. Give me your favorite match that wasn't the main event.
It has to be, and I'm just getting up, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Takeshita for the International Championship. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's
call it what it is. It's AEW's Intercontinental Championship, but yeah, it's the international title.
Oh my God. Right. Okay. So this is the one I made sure during my lunch break, because I was watching this in between breaks at work today and then when I got home. But this is the one I made sure because I knew this was going to be, because it's Will Ospreay, you know, straight away it's going to be a great match. But I'm not going to swear. Holy moly.
That was a swear?
I was going to swear. I could have said holy, yeah, but incredible. I mean, so many things were happening. It was like poison runners, things happening on the side of the ring, flips, turns. It's just like, oh my God. By the end of it, I was just like, I mean, I was on my own in the office and I was just literally just like incredible, because obviously Ricochet in WWE before he turned up in AEW, this is the Ricochet I've wanted to see in a long time. And I know he did have a match with Will not too long ago, and I know did the whole flippy bit and then land in the ring and look at each other sort of thing, and then Takeshita's just like, nope, sort of knocked them both into sense. Honestly, incredible. I loved this match. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that happened in it. It's hard to describe in total, but loads of flips, loads of flips. And then the whole build up beforehand and then after, obviously with Don Callis, because obviously Will's kind of stepped away from the Don Callis family now, from what I believe.
He stepped away a long time ago. Then, because part of the deal was that whatever Don Callis asks a favor, Ospreay would agree to it, and he agreed, and that was the tag team between him and not Carl O'Reilly, Carl Fletcher. There's so many Carls.
Oh no, believe me, I nearly said Kyle O'Reilly.
And we had a slow burn storyline of about 2 to 3 weeks where basically the United Empire slowly started to reform from around Don Callis, and Don Callis could tweak that, saying, well, it's not the United Empire, it's the Don Callis family. It's about the little things.
Yeah.
And it all came to a head in the aftermath of this match after initially Will Ospreay stopping Kyle O'Reilly from turning to the dark side the first time around by preventing him from using the screwdriver in their tag team match. And we had a nice little tiff between Will Ospreay and Don Callis, the Dynamite before the show, in which I couldn't take it at all seriously because the tone of color on Don Callis's fake tan matched perfectly the mustard color on Will Ospreay's jacket. It's either that or Will Ospreay's jacket is so mustardy coloured that it's kind of like holding one of those little yellow flowers under your chin and watching the glow
like a
under
buttercup.
Yeah, except it was the entirety of Don Callis's face. So that's when we had the big row between Ospreay and the Don Callis family, and that's what led to the aftermath of this movie. This match.
It is storytelling, Matty, so
don't talk to me about storytelling. I mean, the men get it way better than the women. I will get to that. Yes. I'm gonna say something really controversial. The right guy won.
Do you know what? Yep. I think Will had his flowers at All In. He held the title for a couple of months. I agree. This was the right call. How it happened, with Carl Fletcher turning on Will, especially after everything that happened, especially with the screwdriver, because that's been an object of influence for a very long time in this storyline, and that was the thing that kind of cemented the whole turn with Kyle against Will. I will say one thing though. You were saying earlier about Nigel McGuinness being like the heel commentator throughout. So when Don Callis pulled out the official, and then I just heard Nigel McGuinness says, "The official has taken himself out of the ring."
Yes.
I mean, it was like, did he actually say that?
He's fantastic, and also, if she ever decides not to wrestle again, like Mariah May, like. Put her on commentary at some point, because her consistently calling Jamie Hayter Daphne throughout the Fatal 4-Way match, like to set up the Willow Nightingale Mariah May match. Like, I was laughing throughout her commentary. So yes, you're absolutely right. This was also going to be my match of the night. So instead, I'm sorry. Are we absolutely done saying everything we've got to say about?
I will just this is definitely match of the year. Will Ospreay has gonna have so many match of the year categories this year. This is top at the moment for me.
At this rate, there's going to be like a top 10, and everyone has real Ospreay in them.
Yeah, pretty much. It's going to be AEW dominated this year. Like, he has been killing it in AEW, bruv, mate. Nando's.
If this doesn't lead to Will Ospreay and Ricochet having a few tag team matches, because the pair of them have such cavalcade together.
Can you imagine?
The fact that they did the little bro fist before they attacked Takeshita. It's like little things like that was really, really cool to see. And you're absolutely right. The absolute chain of moves they put together throughout that entire thing was awesome to see. But again, this is Ospreay and Ricochet. This is what they do.
Yes.
They've been out, and the fact that they've come back, they've had their match together, and they've had this, and yet it's been so long since the two of them faced off together.
And it's like it was only yesterday.
Exactly right. It's like they didn't miss a beat. And so, more please. Absolutely more please. And also, I want to see the potential, because the thing about the international title, that's the title you take abroad and have like a itinerary of wrestlers fight for. It certainly was that way when Pac had it. when it was the All Atlantic Championship. It was for a little while when Orange Cassidy had it as well, because he was definitely the workhorse champion of that title. I want to see Takeshita take that and take it to Japan and have people fight for that. I want to see him go to other places with that. It's not just an AEW thing. The people they have lined up to face this absolute workhorse of a man who's only 29, by the way. It's beautiful stuff. I will say again, the right guy won for that. You took what I was going to say was my match of the night. So I'm going to say what I initially thought was the match of the night. And this is going to be a surprise. I really liked Hologram versus the Beast Mortos.
Do you know what? I know a lot of people were complaining and saying this is probably one of those matches that should have been saved for Dynamite. No, I don't agree. I really enjoyed this match. I haven't seen a lot of the Beast Mortos, but I have been watching Hologram. Damn, he is good. I mean, again, more flips, more on the edge of the canvas sort of thing. It was like Bruiser versus Cruiserweight sort of thing, like the Giant versus the the Cruiserweight, which works well in dynamics of wrestling, and that's why this worked brilliantly. And also it got me a chance to see the Beast Mortos as well. I mean, yeah, incredible. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match, so yeah, it was. I think it ran for the right amount of time. The right person won, and it kind of showed them both off in a way that it doesn't upset Mortos as such. It kind of just just shows how good he is in the ring, and like for me who's never seen him, I want to see more of him.
Yeah, the Beast Mortos is a guy that's mostly sort of squirreled away into Collision a lot, as is Hologram. Hologram's only just started having matches on Dynamite. Hologram is a Tony Khan creation he's had since he was a teenager, and it shows because the guy's practically out of Tron, and he's a luchador, and he has superpowers. He has glow powers. I think
like Naomi.
He does bring on the glow. It's part of his entrance. He's amazing. There we go.
Ghost Rave.
They need to tweak his outfit a little bit. I feel that he needs better gear, better ring gear. But the guy behind the mask is an incredible wrestler. I'm not going to deny his prowess. He is fantastic. Unfortunately, he has the problem of being, I'm not an original guy. I was created in the mind of an absolute sicko in Tony Khan. And unfortunately, he has that going against him. Now, the wrestler behind that, he's had a lovely career. He literally took on the job. I'm sure that sometimes he'll be allowed to wrestle as his own persona. But I do like what they are doing with him. Like, they've been slowly filtering him through, and they've been giving him wins. And if he's got like the talent to match what they've been putting on screen, he will go far. My main problem with him is I think the fans won't take to him because, again, it's a process character. And unfortunately, AEW is a company that they literally said is where the best wrestle. They've been bringing in this talent pool of incredible wrestlers that have made a name outside of the company. So whenever they bring somebody in that is sort of like new, a little bit green, they tend to not really handle them as well. And the crowds don't really take to them as much. Case in point, Abaddon. Like, I could totally get that they are out there making a name for themselves. When was the last time we saw Abaddon?
A very long time ago, and I really like Abaddon as well. Great wrestler.
They always promote AEW in their socials. Not as much at the moment. Like, their literal name is Abaddon AEW. You know, they're literally a company persona, and yet they do nothing with them. Oh, by the way, for all our non-binary fans, they themselves are also non-binary, so There is a representation there, which I really, really dig.
Yes.
So yeah, where was I? Where was we getting at here? So hologram. Beast Mortos, also a fantastic wrestler. Every single time we see him make an entrance, we think he's going to take that bull head off, and he never does. He wrestles in that thing, and that can't be comfortable.
No, I mean the white contacts really stood out for me as well. It was just like very kind of like bold and just like, I'm definitely looking at you sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if they do anything with the Los Ingobernables faction, he will be a very, very good sort of like bodyguard. Basically, what Luchasaurus should be in Kill
Yeah.
Switch. Beast Miltos could go so far with this. And I hope they do something with the Los Ingobernables and there's no politics that get in the way of that, because I'm very much aware Roosh is the figurehead in that company, so in that faction. So please, I do like luchadors, honest. I don't mean to badmouth, but guys, just do something with these guys and don't let people sabotage this. Case in point, the Lucha Bros. But yes. So pick a match, Harriet. Again, no pressure, that you didn't have as much fun with.
That I didn't have as much fun with.
Didn't.
Okay. Give me a moment. It's hard to say because there wasn't really a bad match per se. No. I think the one I didn't enjoy, because I am not keen on the whole shtick behind it, but Chris Jericho versus Mark Briscoe, because don't get me wrong, I think a lot of people kind of like did really like the learning tree. I did at the beginning. I don't now. And I really like Mark Briscoe, but I just did not kind of really get into this match. Don't get me wrong, it was a good match, but because the fact it was Jericho, I mean, don't get me wrong, he this is probably one of the better matches he's done in a while. I think because obviously with him and Mark Briscoe fighting off against each other, the whole storyline into it was very deep, especially with Jericho bringing up stuff that's very like hits the heart sort of thing. But yeah, this was the one I kind of was just like, okay, it's a match. I didn't mind it. Wouldn't say it was match of the night, but it happened. Right person won. I really would have been annoyed if Jericho won. I am not gonna lie. But yeah, that's my thing behind it. I think it's just the whole learning tree really puts me off Jericho and the whole shtick behind it. So I instantly default in regards to, oh god, here we go. Even at All In, like Ian and Jeremy will tell you, like I was just sat there, just like, okay, here we go. And that was the point. Everyone disappeared anyway to use the bathroom. I don't think I did, but it was just more like, yeah, that just shows a lot in regards to Jericho is trying, but also trying at the same time. If that makes sense.
Chris Jericho is a man that stopped using Judas because it was becoming more over than he was. That should tell you something that about the psyche and the core ego of one Chris Irvine.
I mean, we all sang it at the previous All In.
Oh yeah, so did I.
Lost. Oh yeah. What's that mean? We lost our voices singing to it because that's how good it was, and still the biggest audience they've ever performed in.
This is a man who wanted desperately to be over, and was over. Like, kudos to the man. He gave like a star performance in the early days of AEW, but it's now getting to the point where he's now starting to smell. This is going to be harsh, but this is a man who's smelling his own farts and thinks that they smell of roses.
Yes, that's the impression I'm getting now as well. Which, yeah, it's kind of. I don't get me wrong. I have enjoyed Jericho's career. He was. I mean, he's still going. Don't get me, not retiring, but I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
this is the least I've liked him in wrestling.
unfortunately, he's at an age where you can't just say, we can't miss you if you don't go away.
Mm.
But I do also think he needs a break, a breather, a reset. And unfortunately, he's doing the thing where he's seeing the buzz, he's taking are basically negatives, and he's trying to spin them into a positive by basically absorbing them. The whole point of the learning tree and the whole point of TV time with Chris Jericho was, the guy was absorbing TV time. The guy was taking younger talent and thinking he was putting them under the learning tree, but what he was actually doing was sponging off any kind of notoriety these people had.
Yeah.
This is all just personal opinions I have. Feel free to either disregard, or if you don't agree, don't agree. That's all cool. It's all great. I genuinely have not been a Chris Jericho fan now for the last 3 out of the 5 years he's been in AEW. And he's always done this. And he's always done it relatively well. He's been really good at resetting himself and doing stuff. But unfortunately, the older he's getting, the more he thinks things are a persona. This is a man who thinks Lionheart Chris Jericho was a persona. This is a man who thinks that the Painmaker is a separate persona from Lionheart and Le Champion. But it's not, mate. The Painmaker is just you putting on black makeup. Lionheart is basically you trying to embrace your youth.
Yeah.
And the learning tree is you taking criticism and going, ha, 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 to everyone giving you that criticism.
Yeah.
You know? With that being said, I actually like the match.
Yeah, the match was great. I mean, it was just more, Jericho. That was it.
Indeed. And he did great. Mark Briscoe is a hell of a talent.
Yeah.
I do think the Ring of Honor Championship is a poison chalice now. And this is harsh for me to say because I've been a Ring of Honor fan for nearly 2 decades. But Ring of Honor under AEW isn't Ring of Honor. It's NXT. Start treating it like NXT. Don't just bury things and then go, well, that's relevant because he's that champion and stuff like that. Don't pretend that everything's on equal value because they're not. Don't just have Ring of Honor be a place. I will say this rant every time we do one of these. Don't have Ring of Honor just be a place to put people you don't know what to do with. Make Ring of Honor the thing that builds up your talent so they can then progress up to Dynamite and be incredible.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that. Where has Athena been in the last 2 years? She's been the longest reigning Ring of Honor women's champion. But we don't know that because nobody's watching it.
No one knows. It's like picking and choosing the favorites, pretty much.
Indeed.
Which isn't fair.
So every time there's a Ring of Honor champion, I wish I could care. I honestly wish I could care. And that championship has been held by Nigel McGuinness. It's been held by Bryan Danielson. It's been held by Cody Rhodes. It's been held by, I think, Kevin Owens has had it at one point. I'm pretty certain. Adam Cole.
I think he has, yeah.
A whole wealth of people. Jay Briscoe. When that title was relevant. Great champion. And it annoys me no end that it's just left to flounder, that company.
I think from a perspective of my side, because you've been a fan for 2 decades and I'm slowly escaping outside of WWE to learn more stuff. I mean, I know about Japanese wrestling and NJPW and TJPW, but Ring of Honor, I don't know. But unfortunately, AEW isn't really giving me that option of learning more about it if they are not sharing or showing more talent from it, or like you said, the ones that they are showing, not doing much with them and making it more like an afterthought. So it's kind of like for example, you share with us in regards to stuff that's happening, and then that's how I learn, ironically, or through stuff on the internet, but not through AEW. So
I mean, there's some stuff happening in New Japan right now that's incredibly interesting, but we won't really go into that for this show. But I'm so excited right now. Yeah, things are occurring, and I love it. If we're
So
done
what's
talking,
yours? Yeah, I
I
think
was
we're done
about
with
to,
this. So
I was about to say now. I am not going to say this based on the caliber of the two people involved in this match, but as for my bad moment, I'm actually going to say Mariah May and Willow Nightingale because I will defend the women to the hilt, and this is the sole reason why I include this match as my bad moment because they put on a hell of a show. It's a great card. It was a great match. I wish I could care. I wish I could care because the logistics of the booking never made sense. Willow Nightingale ultimately lost her feud with Chris Statlander, yet somehow she has earned a place in a four-way championship to win the chance to be a number one contender. Why wasn't Statlander in that match?
Yeah, and Britt Baker was supposed to be as well, and she got sick.
No, the Britt, even if you take the Britt Baker part of it out of the equation,
yeah,
what are we doing here with Willow, who, by the way, I want desperately to be world champion. I really do. I say this every review we're in. She is incredible. But logistically, how does she get to be in this match? And Statlander, from out of nowhere, gets to become an afterthought that's buried on Collision, suddenly babyface because she saw the light.
That's very confusing to me as well.
Inexplicably separated from Stokely Hathaway. The pair of them don't even mention each other anymore. Like, that whole entire storyline never took place. And unfortunately, this is thematic of the booking of the women's division in general. And it annoys me. You can have great matches. I wish you could have more than two. I really do. Give the women's division a chance. Have more than one overlining storyline. Don't then have storyline on pause because you're waiting for Toni Storm to get off excursion.
Yeah.
Build with another storyline, and then when she's ready to come back, you pivot back to that. Regardless of whether Mariah May has a championship or not. And go on.
No,
I will stop for a second.
I was going to say, even WWE, with their pay-per-views, they have 5 matches. 2 of them are women matches, female, like the women champion matches. But it's just like...
with storylines behind them as well.
Exactly. But in AEW, like from what I see, because I don't watch all the shows as yourself and Jeremy do, I kind of catch up through reviews. Even I'm like, but you have like loads of talented female wrestlers. You have Jamie Hayter, who has just come back.
And
what is she doing?
And has been buried on 0 hours. Yes. She has been put on collisions. Yeah. She was your women's champion when she got injured. What are you doing, you wallies?
I mean, I wasn't there when... I wasn't at the moment because I had to step away and go toilet when she returned and All In. But the noise that I heard from just outside where we were sat, and it was just like, what's happening? Someone said Jamie Hayter's returned. I was like, oh my god, and I'm missing it. And sadly I did. But that reaction alone would make you think, or make Tony think, oh, I should be using her more in the main event or in like main shows. I don't get it. I'm agreeing with you because obviously as a female fan, having that female representation in wrestling is very important. And unfortunately, AEW, I still go back to that sign where I don't know if the cameraman did it because he wanted to tell you a message, or the fact that although they had enough message of give the female wrestlers a chance in AEW, because even on 0 Hour they booked a female match for Dynamite the next Wednesday, and it's like you could have had this on the main event. I know I'm not a massive fan of Mercedes Moné per se, but still it would have counted. So it's just annoying that you do not have as many female wrestlers on the show in the pay-per-view. Do better, AEW, please.
Mercedes Moné, by the way, who's one of the highest paid women on the roster and wasn't booked to be on the show. She was in a backstage angle. That's where Statlander was. Statlander has been put in a feud with Camille. And Camille is a great wrestler. She was a fantastic NWA Women's Champion.
Loved her in NWA, yeah.
Yeah. But what are you doing with Mercedes?
It seems like, because it's happening with Blackpool Combat Club as well, where you have name escapes me, but the person who joined Maria Shafir, who's joined, and she's somewhat the heavy of the group, so it seems at the moment. And
she's the China.
Yes, very much so. And it seems to be the same with Mercedes, Camille. But it's just with Mercedes and Camille. But has Camille actually wrestled yet in AEW? I don't know.
I think she has, but not on Dynamite. I think she might have done in one of the collisions. I think for sure.
That kind of says it all, really.
Well, that's what they do. Like, we got a wealth of women's talent, and at least 75% of them are all on Ring of Honor because they don't know what to do with them. Like, they brought in Queen Anna, oh God, I will get her name right. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. But they had her on, and she's also an incredible talent. And they pivoted from, I think she's going to be Mercedes' next victim, basically.
Yeah, that's the next match on Dynamite on Wednesday.
But most of her matches happen on Ring of Honor. Like, she barely wrestles on Dynamite. Same, again, aforementioned Abaddon, Athena, Billy Starks. Maria Bennett. Like, the moment they signed the contracts, Maria got split off from the rest of the kingdom and put on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
As the hot mum. And has done nothing since. Her contract's running out at the end of this month, by the way, and she's going bye-bye. So whatever that means for Mike Bennett, I don't know. But it's like there's so much potential going to waste. Or they are utilizing them, but they've put them on a thing that nobody's really watching.
Yeah.
And it's so annoying. I weep. I am glad we're having this conversation. I'm glad we need to bring this up. And I'm glad you yourself are also getting a voice in this, because this is incredibly important to you as a fan. Like, I can I can literally swing at the fences all I want. But at the end of the day, I am a 44-year-old white man. And yet I just feel that the women just barely get even a chance. And that's not just an AEW thing. That's a WWE thing.
I was just about to say.
Yeah. Sorry. And yet WWE, weirdly, are sort of the better company for that at the moment. Because you feel, okay, Liv and Rhea notwithstanding, that we want that to end real soon. Real freaking soon. But it's a storyline, and it's a central storyline that runs through Raw. It makes them feel important.
Exactly. See, sometimes I find it difficult to talk as a female wrestling fan because growing up I wasn't taken as seriously. So I'm appreciative that I'm on here so I can actually speak what I need to say, because and even though I don't talk as much, I try my best to. But growing up in the age, I think I started wrestling in the early 2001, and watching, I mean, obviously, from the male perspective, the bra and panties matches, hated that. But obviously, you didn't really talk about that sort of thing. I'm going to go into something very quickly. Now that we're in this revolution of women's wrestling, I love this. I think this is great, but it still needs to do better. That's pretty much in regards to what I think, and I will end it on that note.
No, you're absolutely valid in your opinion there. And we will get back to the pay-per-view, I promise. But I'm sorry, it's something we needed to say. And it's like the logistical booking in AEW at the moment is just in the toilet. Like, you could have used the Willow and Statlander match to give Willow some momentum. Willow, in all fairness, should have won. She should have won to make her achievements after that make sense.
Yeah.
And then Statlander taking the loss could have been the Inuai that humbled her enough to then turn back to being a babyface. But we didn't get that. And what we got made no logistical sense whatsoever. And apparently the plan has always been for Willow to have this match at WrestleDream, and it's been in the cards for several weeks. You wouldn't think that. You honestly wouldn't think that. So it does nobody any good. And that is why I couldn't care. I couldn't care because Mariah May is on a holding pattern waiting for Tony.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious. You could see it on Willow's face when she made her entrance. Like, she put on a smile. It felt like a fake one. It felt like a really fake one. You could see sometimes when you know that people are just there to take a pinfall, you could tell when they... I mean, Thunder Rosa is the worst offender for that. But you could tell when they come in, they got a look on their face that tells you they are losing. And unfortunately, Willow had that ever so briefly before she got in the ring. And that said to me, well, I already knew you were probably going to lose. And now I know you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible match. Some stuff happened there. Actually, to draw a semblance of a comparison to WWE, this felt like what Nia and Bayley tried to do with their match, but
it didn't work out. Yeah.
The heavier set version being Willow, and then the more athletic person being Mariah. And I think they pulled it off. I think they did some moves there that were really incredible. And things like this makes me think that Willow deserves to be a world women's champion down the road. This was not her time, and it never felt like her time. And I so want it to be her time soon. I really do.
She will get her time soon, honestly. I believe she will be a champion. Like, again, but like the women's champion. She definitely will be.
Right. With that being said, we're just going to now just breeze through the other matches because I've got the list in front of me. We're going to have...
And also segments as well in between, because there was a few.
Oh, there absolutely was. You might have to remind me of those, though. So I'm just going to go for the list, and we're just going to have a brief surmise of whether we like this or not. And then we'll wrap it up as we can. So, Jay White defeating Hangman Adam Page by pinfall. What did you think?
It was good. Hangman's very angry.
He's a very angry boy, and now he comes out the heel tunnel.
I mean, even in the promo photo I'm looking at now, he's just literally given that kind of look of like, I am gonna kill you. I mean, it was good to see Jay White back, because I have seen a few of his matches, and right person won, and it didn't do anything bad for Hangman Page either. I mean, obviously with the whole match he had before, which was brutal. Yeah, it was very good. I think it was a good way to kick off the pay-per-view as well. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Good little heel versus heel opener, because I don't believe for one moment Jay White is ever a babyface.
No.
He did some things in this match that, again, about the little things. I loved the part where Hangman kept trying to set him up for the buckshot lariat, and Jay White kept on slouching over to the ropes and moving himself out of position, sort of like sluggishly, and it was frustrating Hangman Page. I love that spot. Again, wasn't really my match of the night, but it was a nice little opener. I wish I could really feel that they want us to think that Jay White is a babyface, and he's really not. He's really not. He needs to do some more work to convince me that he's a babyface. We've already talked about Mariah May and Willow Nightingale. We then move on to Jack Perry versus Shibata. I think it was a good little match, which ultimately made Shibata look like an utter idiot. What did you think?
The ending especially. Yes. I think the ending I did not enjoy. Like, I agree. It made him look like a fool. Throughout the whole match, though, was very good. I mean, Jack Perry likes to spit a lot.
Yeah, well, he's learning so well from his Bullet Club veteran, because you forget he's a member of Bullet Club now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he started off his scapegoat persona in New Japan Strong as a member of I think he was one of the night. I forgot what Evil's part of the Bullet Club is. There's so many subdivisions of Bullet Club now. I find it really hard to keep track. But
unfortunately, I cannot help with that.
yeah, if Jeremy is here, he would have told me straight away. But yeah, so
or let us know
essentially
in the chat, please.
essentially Bullet Club, the evil faction. But yeah, I liked what they did. One thing I hate about it being making Shibata look stupid. Shibata is supposed to be the smartest man in the room. His name is literally the wrestler.
Yeah.
And some people think that literally he just got fallen on, counted to 3, and there's like, oh, but there was a little bit of an effort from Jack Perry's end, but it was ever so brief that you wouldn't have noticed. He did do an arc when they fell and Shibata pinned him down. Effectively, Jack did turn it into a pinning effort by turning it into an arc, which caused the 3 count. I like the idea in principle that it protects both men, but ultimately it did make Shibata, who has wrestled way better than this, look incredibly dumb.
Yes.
It wasn't really for me. We've already spoken about Takeshita defeating Will Ospreay and Ricochet. Incredible match. We've already spoken about Hologram defeating the Beast Mortos. Let's talk about Darby Allin and Brody King, because oh my, that was a lovely little match. Yum, yum, yum.
Oh, I tell you something. Brody King has some mighty slaps. How is Darby Allin still breathing once through either being chopped or being stepped on? Literally, not the whole thing of like step on me, queen or king, but he was literally stepped on by steps and not the band. Metal steps and not the metal band. If there is a metal band of steps, I'd love to know if there was.
When Brody set up the steel steps on its side, my immediate thought was, well, Darby's obviously going to do a coffin drop onto it.
Yeah, literally, I think he did like 3 or 4 in the whole match. Because, Darby Allin really, I don't know how he is still alive. I really don't.
To be fair, you could say that about any Darby Allin match.
I mean, yeah. I mean, even in real life, it's just like things happen to him.
Oh, it's all right. I might die. I might step out of this venue and I might die because I live a hell of a life. I might go climb Everest. You never know. Oh dear, I broke my leg. Oh no, I've just been run over by a bus.
This is legit. This is not fake. It's the truth.
He is a weird little creature, and I'm starting to get the appeal of him.
Yeah.
I do wish he takes it a lot easier on himself. But he's at that age. Bless him. Ospreay was exactly the same when he was just taking liberties with his own body, and look what happened there.
It's like a wild, rebellious teenager. It's like, you can't tell me what to do, Dad.
With that being said, I could see him as world champion because he also has the chops and he has the babyface appeal. Kids adore him. I hope kids don't emulate him, for God's sake. I sound like a soccer mum if I say that.
No.
Sound like such a soccer mum if I say that.
It is literally the don't try this at home sort of thing. And yet, like the warnings, they still did it. I mean, I did. I didn't do a suplex move. My ex did a suplex move on me ages ago. Yeah.
What, on the bed? Or
well, yes. Luckily, yeah. It was just more. Yeah, it was just more. Anyway, nothing bad. It was just more in regards to just play wrestling sort of thing. Anyway, I'm moving on. This sounds worse than what it is, but yeah.
I will save you some face by saying I have done silly bed moves with another man.
Never did that as a
I've
child,
had an RKO done to me on a bed at a convention. So,
oh my god! Well, you had a soft landing. So.
Me and my mate Gruff, we had some times anyway. But I will also say at the end that Brody King did go up to Darby and shook his hand. Commentary tried to say that this was like the House of Black thing to do, and they have done that in the past. I wish they didn't. I think this could be a thing that makes Brody King stand out as his own man, because if any other matches that Brody does are of the same quality as this, I'd love to see more. I'd love to see some more single Brody King stuff. We already spoke about the Young Bucks. Oh no, we didn't. We didn't.
Haven't. No. I kind of briefly brought it up. Yeah, this was an interesting match.
I don't think Private Party earned this at all. I think this is a storyline that needed to build a bit more before we had the presentation of match that we got here. Like the Amazing Red stuff and all of that should be several weeks, if not months down the line. Because ultimately it made it look like Private Party were going to win.
I mean, yeah, it pretty much, you had that kind of so many like near pins. Even at one point thinking, oh, they're going to win the championship. And honestly, it was literally like nail biting moments and kind of like edge of the seat sort of thing. And I did enjoy this match, actually. Don't get me wrong. But because I don't know Private Party a lot, but I did hear about the history of that they did defeat the Young Bucks years ago. They wore the same shoes that evening that they beat the Bucks with.
Yeah, it was a tournament to crown the inaugural AEW World Tag Team Championships, which ultimately SoCal Uncensored ultimately won. But in the first bracket round, Private Party defeated the Young Bucks in a shock victory. And ever since then, they haven't really had the momentum they had, either through injury or through idiotic like bookings. And they've just been kept down. Like I said, this would have been incredible had it been a few weeks down the line. Like, have this match and have them lose. Like, that's fine. And then have them pick themselves up and say, no, we're not going to wallow. We're going to actually work our asses off and be the best tag team we can possibly be. And then we're going to face them off again. And I hope they go down this route. I honestly do. I want to see a rematch with these guys. I don't want the Private Party get told, well, you've had your moment now. That's all right. We'll go and have FTR face them off now. Or we'll have Grizzled Young Veterans face them off now. Your time's done. You've had your match. Bye. I don't want that. I genuinely want them to actually build themselves up to be a really credible tag team, because I know they can be. Unfortunately, I have the fear that AEW don't do that. I have the fear that you've had your match, you're done now. Because we've had that, with, especially in the women's department. We're not going to go back into that, but we've had that with so many credible like contenders for the women's titles that are then get sent off somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that annoys me. And I hope this doesn't happen with Private Party. I want to see them succeed. I want them to take themselves seriously, and I want to cheer them on. I really, really do. Anything else to say about this match before we move on?
I enjoyed it. I hope there is a rematch in the future, because I thought this was great. I think this should have been, because this was before the first main event, wasn't it? Because there was two main events.
It was just before the Ring of Honor World Championship.
Yeah, it could have been before the main event. I don't know, but I think placement wise, probably was okay. I enjoyed it. I mean, it kind of again got me to know Private Party more, because I wasn't too aware of them to begin with, because you're still learning with AEW, but makes me want to watch more of them.
Indeed, absolutely. And before we get around to our neat little bow of the main event, because we've already talked about Chris Jericho and Mark Briscoe, we had some backstage segments and some in-ring segments. Harriet, would you like to run through what those were?
So the first was actually after the Jack Perry and Shibata match. So it was Daniel Garcia coming out during the match to attack Perry, and then MJF returned, because why not? You know, apparently he was filming and he came back for it. Came out, did his usual shtick of, I defeated you with no sweat. I've got my ring back whatsoever. I'm going to beat the living daylights out of you. I've got a massive movie. And then suddenly, here comes the boom. Adam Cole came back, baby. And that was a surprise.
You
He
better
came back to
believe
his
it's all about the
music.
boom.
It's all about the boom, yeah.
Yeah.
He came back to his own music. It doesn't seem like he is associated with the
Kingdom.
what's the name?
The
The Kingdom,
Undisputed Kingdom.
Undisputed Kingdom. So I don't know what's happening with that, but it was good to see him back. Obviously, MJF tried to joke like, "Oh, you're gonna hobble down to the ring," and then no, Adam Cole just pretty much bolted down the ring. About to attack him. MJF legged it. Him and Garcia had like a fist bump and respect moment sort of thing. That was that. Don't know what's going to happen next going forward. The other main focus of this, which was an in-ring segment. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, because I have feelings about this. I feel that this shunted Daniel Garcia to the side unfairly.
Oh, God, yeah. Especially since he's re-signed recently.
Yeah, exactly. I do hope that he has a really credible storyline. I felt that this was to get the last vestiges of him and MJF out the way, but they did that in a way of jobbing him out to MJF, if that makes sense. That sucked. But he was one of the people that ran to Bryan Danielson's aid at the end of the show. So that gives him a little bit of face saving. I have so many feelings about this goddamn storyline that Tony Khan really wants to tell with MJF and Adam Cole. And allegedly, originally, the plan was for Adam Cole to win the World Heavyweight Championship from MJF as a babyface.
Yeah.
And for reasons that, namely because of their tag team being incredibly over, that got delayed for a bit. And then Adam Cole got injured. And because by this point, MJF got turned more or less face by the entire Better Than You Baby thing, they moved what they were planning to do. I think MJF was always going to be the devil against Adam Cole ultimately. But they switched it around to Adam Cole being the devil. Then he got injured. Then MJF got injured. Then we had this entire storyline, which they decide, well, we're going to put a pin on that. So we better tie up loose ends. And then after that, everyone went bye-bye again. And now we're back to Tony Khan's original vision for this feud. MJF is now the heel. Adam Cole is now the babyface. And this is what I mean about the Tony Khan booking philosophy of, I really want to tell this story. I'll just put things in a holding pattern until I get to tell my story.
Yeah.
And for me, it makes no logistical sense. Adam Cole can be an incredible babyface. He is the biggest babyface on his streaming platform. He really is. He's a darling, an utter darling. But as a wrestler, ultimately, he can't maintain it for long because he's such a natural heel. But we're at this moment, and Adam Cole ran to the ring, so his foot is obviously better now. And he did some moves. And then also Adam Cole was among the baby faces that ran down to Bryan Danielson's aid near the end of the show.
Yeah.
And not Jeff Jarrett. God damn it, JR. He's a baby face now. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, that's my overall thought on that. It'll be interesting to see what goes on from there. Harriet, please continue.
I was before I move on to the next thing. Yeah, the whole thing of even before each of them, the separate storyline when MJF was the babyface and Adam Cole was the heel, and now the whole swap has happened. It's just like anyone who has watched this or just got into this, and when they go back and revisit what's happened, they're gonna be so confused.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. Yes, so the next thing that happened, I can't remember when it happened. I know it was halfway through the show. Prince Nana came out to obviously promote his coffee and bring on Swerve Strickland because obviously it was his hometown hero. That's probably why a lot of people were telling F you Hangman during this match. But yes, he came out. Obviously we were expecting MVP, he did come out. Obviously, Swerve was talking about how he's he's medically cleared to wrestle, even though he still has the things that he told Bryan Danielson what he was going to do, and it's like pretty much karma back to him. And then when it got to the future, that's when MVP came out with Shelton Benjamin, basically saying, "Oh, Swerve, you've been ignoring me. I've been trying to contact you, and like we've been doing this, that, and the other, trying to delve into the past relationship they had on the wrestling circuit, past WWE, etc." Defiant, they even brought up Defiant.
Defy Wrestling, which I believe
Yeah.
is Swerve Strickland's own indie promotion.
That makes sense why they mentioned it. It kind of led on to the fact of maybe Swerve might be turning his back on Prince Nana, and I was just like, please don't. I actually quite like this whole friendship. It's just really cool. It's one of the first few things I started noticing in AEW when I watched it was the two of them, which is why I appreciate this even more. It did lead on to the fact that maybe Swerve might turn away, like saying, ever since I got with you, I've lost the AEW championship, I've lost a house, but your family, and I never turn my back on family. Shelton Benjamin then got. There was a good exchange between the two of them as well in regards to how Swerve was saying, "You got me in. This is where I am. It's because of you and because of men like you," which I did really appreciate. In this day and age, it was a lovely speech as well. But then obviously Shelton Benjamin was just like, "No. You have to join, otherwise, either you're with us or you're against us." And I like that dynamic. One interesting thing though, no Bobby Lashley.
I have a feeling if he doesn't debut like on this Dynamite coming, I think that this could potentially be a feud between Swerve and Shelton. And please give Shelton an actual strong storyline, because the poor chap hasn't been given one of those in a long time, and he's got so much talent. If they don't do this, I could see Bobby Lashley absolutely being like a final boss for Swerve Strickland to overcome.
Yes. Like literally level up the way to get to that, yeah.
Make Bobby Lashley the big meaty bastard that we all want him to be. Without
and
sisters.
He is.
Although I will say one of his sisters does wrestle in AEW, by the way.
No, really?
One of his sisters is Max Caster.
Oh my god, no.
It wouldn't have been me unless I brought something that blew Harriet's mind. So
true.
It's fine. But yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's just make Bobby Lashley while Harriet composes herself. Let's make Bobby Lashley the big meaty bastard final boss that we truly want him to be, because he has the potential to do that. And I'd love to have Shelton just not just be a henchman, but be a great wrestler in his own right in this company as well. Because as much as I have so many niggles about AEW as a company, what this pay-per-view even in itself proves is you can have absolutely no build and yet still have incredible matches. And Shelton Benjamin is an incredible wrestler. Use him.
Yes.
Anyway, Harriet.
And pretty much ended up with them squaring off. I think Shelton hit a referee as well, so goodness knows what's going to happen, or if he's going to be fined for that sort of thing.
I'll just be fined.
He'll be fine. It's okay. MVP will pay for it, and that's pretty much how it ended off. They were separated. I think Nana had to hold Swerve back, and MVP was like, pretty much, no. We'll save them, make them pay for this match, sort of thing. So it could happen. It could happen, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good segment. I'm surprised it was shown in a pay-per-view, because I don't think they do this much in AEW, do they?
No.
In AEW pay-per-views, I mean.
If we were to do this review on Sunday as originally planned, I would have said that this stuff could have happened on Dynamite. But what I think we just seen here was an attempt to actually break up the matches without needing to go into adverts.
Yeah.
To that end, I say, don't make 13 match cards then. That's simple.
it's like there's too many. Even for me, it's like that's way too many. But AEW have always gone through this formula anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
WWE have too little, and AEW have too much. But WWE is good in regards to like a 3-hour show for 5 matches because it tells good storyline. Maybe have one more match, I suppose.
I will say this: I've got no problem with the pacing of a WWE like pay-per-view. Like, for instance, yeah, we could say there was only 5 matches in Bad Blood, but let's not pretend here. Bad Blood was in effect like what In Your House used to be back in the 90s. In Your House was basically like another TV show, but in pay-per-view form. And you were lucky you would even have like 2 hours on it half the time on most of those things.
And now, like, some of the big 4, the big 5 is being split now into 2 nights. So that is out.
Yeah, so some of the in-betweeny ones, like an Elimination Chamber, shall we say, or a Money in the Bank, like you might get like 6 matches, probably 7. And then the bigger ones like SummerSlam, which they're definitely grooming to be like the big number 2 show proper now. WrestleMania. I nearly said WrestleDream again.
We are talking
and of course
about
the Royal Rumble. I would love to have the Royal Rumble twice. Have the women on one show, make it like a women's event. Have the men on another one. I don't mind. That'd be cool. That way you don't have to go through the rigmarole of having a Royal Rumble twice on one night. You can literally break it up into like a breathable subsection. My phone is going bananas. I'm going to ignore that. But yeah, like make the big shows like make them like have each of the 4s or at least the 3s like enough to breathe. Have like your intermediate ones, like you can have your 6 ones, and then have like your much smaller ones be like the 5s. I really don't mind this platform at all. So long as the quality of the wrestling and the storylines are great, give us 5 matches. It's fine, but make those 5 matches mean something and not just be filler. With that being said as well, AEW could learn a thing or two from that and just calm their tits. Please just calm their tits. Calm Tony Khan's tits. They must be so pointy now that you could break ice with them. Like, come on. Like, come on, dude. Stop eating so many sherbet fountains. That's all I'm telling you, mate. Just please. For my sanity alone, because I review nearly all of these AEW cards. Please, sir, please, can we have smaller cards?
Yeah.
I think we're all done for the segments now, aren't we?
Yep, pretty much that was it. It was just those 2 main ones in between the matches that were of importance, so to speak, especially the returns. So
we had some stuff in 0 Hour as well. We had Okada being interviewed saying, yeah, I'm just here to support the Elite. And then he got approached by Kyle O'Reilly, fresh from having his match with the conglomeration, approach him and say, and he attempted to be respectful, said, I really love you as a wrestler. Can we wrestle for the Continental Championship? And Okada did his little, no, bitch. And then they fought.
I was going to say, did he finish up with bitch?
yeah, he always ends with bitch. It's all about the bitch and how you play it. So there was that. So that's going to be a nice little filler match. I don't see Kyle O'Reilly winning that title 1 iota. And again, really good talent there. Please, can you give us the Continental Classic again? It was a great tournament last year. It's now nearly November, and there's no sign of it. I love the C2.
I think we didn't really talk about the main event itself. I will talk about it very briefly.
We are literally going to make that our last port of call, so we are heading towards that now.
Fair enough, yeah.
So what do you think about the main event?
Jesus, it was brutal. I mean, they didn't even begin the match. It's quite surreal to hear Final Countdown, a song that we've all really loved listening to with Bryan Danielson, and then suddenly Moxley's beating the bejesus out of Daniel Bryan while everyone is still singing along while he's being choked with a wire.
Yeah.
The match hadn't even begun.
At this point, I kind of already knew because it was telecasted that this was going to be his last match. It was at his home state.
Yeah.
Everything was pointing towards, wow, everything's literally been like put there as a play as like the perfect end point for him.
Yeah.
And I got a little sad. I won't lie. When his entrance hit and it was the final countdown, I couldn't get excited about it because I just had a thought, that's going to be the last time I hear that in a match.
It literally was his final countdown
Yeah. I
in a
got
sad
really,
way.
really sad. And you're
Yeah.
right. It was very, very brutal. They had one last rigmarole around the ring before they even started the match. It was
Yeah.
incredibly brutal. I will repeat what I said before. Whenever it came to any kind of neck-based offense, Mox was, you could see he was
Oh.
very sort of gentle, but also in a very brutal way.
It came across very like, oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But then Bryan wouldn't have it any other way. And then
No.
now apparently this was the plan. He said, well, if I'm going to do this extended run, I want the guy who puts an end to my long-term career. I want it to be Mox. This is the guy.
Yeah.
And it fitted in so well with this new like push that Mox is getting, which I'm really digging this new character, which isn't loud, it isn't screamy. It's like the second coming of Jake the Snake. It's calm, it's collected. It's you literally, this feels like a man that if you approach could seriously make you step back just
Oh.
from like the whole persona that he like radiates. He
Yeah.
doesn't need to scream his point. He can show his point, and he'll do it with a whisper, and he'll do it with calm, cold, calculating verbiage. And
Yeah.
I'm really digging this. Again, so many things are happening in this match. I can't even.
I
Like
mean, Maria got involved quite a lot, and
to the
wasn't caught
point.
by the referee until like near towards the end. She was caught, ironically, just holding Brian's leg and not
Mm,
beating them up like she had been throughout most of the match.
yeah,
She's just standing
getting
there like,
getting on top of him as well, putting him in the choke.
yeah,
She is so well utilized now. She's not in
yes.
matches. I wish she was in matches, but then again, that's my opinion about the women's division altogether.
Give
But
it time, probably. Let the storyline build, and then obviously, yeah, maybe.
I think I said this in All Out, but you do know the backstory of why Marina Shafir is in the Blackpool Combat Club, right?
Yes, yes.
I will explain again for the people listening. Basically, Mox outright said that as like months ago, if not a couple of years ago, during Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, he introduced Marina Shafir as a member of the Blackpool Combat Club. And as far as he's concerned, she is a member of the Blackpool Combat Club. And this was never shown in any AEW programming whatsoever. But as soon as Bloodsport happened, I'm like, well, she is. She's such a good fit. She's
Mm.
incredible. Apparently, it was Mox as well who told her to continue to wrestle barefoot, because that's another thing she does as well. She is such a mixed martial artist. Because she's a member of the, I will say her name, even though she rubs me up the wrong way, the Ronda Rousey Four Horsewomen. She is a member of that, and with good reason. She is an incredible mixed martial artist and an incredible wrestler as well. She's here now because she was very much a Moxley pitch. Moxley fought to have her included, and it's paying off because she's such an important member now of this
Yeah.
faction. I dig it. I absolutely dig it.
Yeah.
I can't really say any more than that, really, apart from I had a feeling of overall sadness throughout all of this because I knew the end was coming. And as much as All In filled me with so much promise, so much like excitement, so much, well, we're still getting it. We're still getting Bryan. We're getting a stay of execution here. And I firmly believed that we could literally have him until next All In if need be.
Yeah.
And I'd be absolutely fine with that. The fact that this happened, I think, again, I said this at the beginning of the show, we will go full circle. I think this was for the best. He has earned his holiday. Go get your surgery. Go be a dad. Go be just a fantastic human being all round. And I'm nearly tearing up now, but it's like
I am as well, actually.
the-
I'm kind of like getting like, oh god.
the fact that you ended your career on your terms, literally, not many people get to do that, and you almost, it feels like a copy of what I said in the All In review, but the fact that this very nearly didn't happen and you fought to come back to a career that you love, and you came back and became one of the most renowned wrestlers on the planet, and now you get to finally finish on your terms, is absolutely incredible to me. I've got no more notes. For me, this is 10 out of 10. No notes. His whole thing here in AEW was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the potential of the people that face Mox. We saw a few of them in the ring. I'd love to see Mox versus Orange Cassidy again. Their international championship matches were incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'd like to see what they do with Darby Allin. Just don't make him a superhero. Just have him on the trajectory he's currently on, because he does lose a lot. He has lost quite a bit, but he always overcomes. Darby Allin can be like the ultimate underdog, and sometimes I feel they oversell him as a superhero with one coffin drop and he can take you out. I'm so excited for the future of AEW, but I also feel that the booking needs to be sorted out. The women's division needs to be better, but if they continue on the trajectory they are currently on, the future can be so bright. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think also because if you think about it, AEW's only just been going, for 5 years now? I mean, it took WWE a very long time to get to the point where they are now. And if learning progress continues, AEW could get there very quicker than we think, especially in regards to booking and stuff. But it just depends on things.
I will say this. WCW Nitro started in 95 and ended in 2001. That is 6 years.
Yeah.
We have just had 5 years of Dynamite. They have got a new re-signed distribution contract with HBO, Warner Brothers Discovery, for another, I think, 3 to 5 years. I think it might be 3 years. This will ensure that they will be around longer than WCW Nitro ever has.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to squander that. Some exciting things are in the pipeline. They've got a deal with Fox Mexico, but that also means that they have to showcase lucha talent more.
Yes.
And there's some really good talent there. We've got Hologram, we've got the Beast Mortos, we got literally the deal with CMLL. You've got such a pool of talent there. Your Atlantis Jr. and 0 Hour was also incredibly good, by the way. So long as he doesn't drop the ball, AEW will already outlast WCW as a company, and that's incredible news.
Yep.
So I think I'm done. I don't know about you. I'm looking forward to Dynamite. That's going to be happening soon, and let's see what they do going forward. Indeed. Now, with that being said, everybody, thank you for everybody that's been on the stream. So we went a bit longer than we planned. I actually planned for about an hour. It's now been an hour and nearly 40 minutes. I'm sorry. When I go off on one, I go off on one. But with that being said, we are BunkaMania. You can find us over on the... Oh, sorry, I'm being distracted by things. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitch, of course, if you're watching on both of this. Just to remind you, we also do some other content. We are currently doing BunkaMania Goes to the Movies. You can see right now a review of the WWE films The Chaperone, where you see the ravings of a madman. But don't let an upset Ian put you off. Harriet is also there, and nobody else is reviewing that at all. No one else is involved in that. I certainly wouldn't beseech you to watch this review right to the end and leave a comment in our YouTubes. I wouldn't suggest that at all. Will also be eventually we'll be recording reviews of both Transformers 1, slightly spoilers. I freaking loved it. And also See No Evil, which is the wrestling special for Halloween. On that note, we will also do a Halloween special of Quiz Smash, of which I am currently the non-linear championship of, having defeated the champion Froggy. I don't know what that means for me, but I've been told he's still the champion. So I'm guessing I'm going to have to defeat him twice and really cement my place.
I mean, it's a Halloween special, so.
So yes, you can watch that Quiz Smash right now. We'll be doing one at least once a month. We will be back later this month with Halloween Quiz Smash.
Yes.
As far as wrestling content is concerned, we have Harriet. We've got 3 more shows next month.
Oh, we got Crown Jewel. We have Survivor Series, War Games. What's the third one?
AEW Full Gear.
Oh boy.
on the evening of the day you and me stay over at the Dekker Dane's place.
Oh yes, it is for TF Nation. Yes.
Yeah. With that also being said, because he's been mentioned now, this is where we gonna make our goodbyes. But first, you can find me over on the old X under MattyBoo Tweets. You can find me on Instagram and Threads under MattyBoo Super. I also have my own dedicated Twitch channel called MattyBoo Twitches. I should be back this coming Saturday with episode 4 of The Wolf Among Us, with our ever so lovely dog boy Bigby. I love him so much. I love him so much. And then I should be back with another stream on Sunday as well. Harriet, where can they find you?
I am also on Twitter or X at MangaGirl232. That's where I post the schedules I do for the week. Tomorrow night on my Twitch channel, Harriet_MangaGirl, I will be continuing my Castlevania series with Portrait of Ruin, which is another one of my favorite games. So that'll be at 8 o'clock tomorrow on Twitch for a couple of hours, maybe a bit longer, depending on how much I'm getting into the game. Maybe it's about 10:30. And on YouTube, I believe next Friday there is a new Starbomb song that's being released, so I will be reacting to that. So you can find me YouTube MangaGirl232, or if you just type in NSP or Starbomb reactions, I'm usually one of the first on there. And then you'll probably find me, I don't know, you'll find me on Twitter anyway, or on the interwebs, as I always say. So yeah, mainly Twitter, and that's where I just post most of my scheduling.
You can find sitting atop a mountain of WWE films. Oh wait, no, that's the doll. Oh, that's the doll. I'm so sorry, Harriet. I got you confused with a voodoo doll for some reason. I don't know why. But also, you can find our producer, the Dekker Dane, who has been running tech and has been moderating both the chats. He has been a delightful man here and deserves all of your love.
Yes.
You can find him as the Dekker Dane everywhere, but also you can find him on Twitch, especially on Mondays, where he does a reaction stream, including a show that I cannot stand. I really cannot stand, called Ghost Dimension, where 2 idiots and a thumb go out hunting ghosts. Sometimes they do day for night and try and tell us it's nighttime. Sometimes they put black drapes over planes. Who knows? Who cares? I certainly don't. Honest. But yes, go check out the Dekker Dane on Twitch. Together, you can find all 3 of us, and sometimes Jeremy, under BunkaMania UK. If you are watching us right now, congratulations, you have found us. But please spread the word. Please tell people. We'd love doing this show. We'd love to see more eyes. We'd love to see more people watching. We'd love to see more people listening to us. It will be very, very much appreciated if you can leave a review. It could be very, very awesome of you if you can at least share the links, circulate them, get more people to notice, and let's build this lovely community because you've all been freaking awesome. With that being said, Harriett, say your goodbyes.
Thank you for watching, and catch you all very soon. I'm glad
And
I was able to contribute a lot in this. I'm very proud of
I'm
myself.
glad you were able to contribute a lot as well because, hey, everybody, Harriett's voice is also valid and we love her for it. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to do a little sign off, and that sign off is this in the form of a poem. It is: let's go celebrate those boys and girls who fight and grap for the straps. I got it wrong already. Let me say that again. Let's celebrate the men and women, brave and bold, who go and grap. They grap for the straps, those delightful golden straps. And also, let's celebrate the best team, the team that reviewed for your very eyes WrestleDream. Goodbye, everybody.